Thank you for watching, and be sure to like and comment on my stories. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, so you never miss the latest release of a new dose of Sinister 24/7. I'm not sure if humans are the only existence, so I had to dig deeper. What I'm about to share with you will put me in danger, but it might also change your mind. This is case number CX1073. She couldn't explain what it felt like. It was kind of like sounds of waves traveling throughout her body with vibrations, if that makes any sense. This would be her first of many encounters with what she called the creators of gods. Some will always ask that one question. If they created gods, then who created them? She knew the answer, and if by chance you have been where she had been, then you know it also. Some call it an abduction. She called it the transfer. These unearthly beings were taking samples from her. It felt like they were downloading her imagination at times. She believed that because her memories and thoughts that she had forgotten from many years ago were now flashing in her mind, and it was in 4K. She remembered lying down with a mask on her face as her eyes slowly blinked. The tips of her fingers were numb, and her hearing was absent. Parts of her upper body were twitching at times. Sarah had no feeling from the waist down. She could tell that she was lying in some type of liquid, but it felt like a gel. Her hearing was slowly coming back, and the oddest music was playing. The mixture of sound and the frequency and combination of notes were beyond her scale. Just as she opened her eyes, she caught a quick glimpse of shadow-like figures standing around her. Sarah's vision went to a static of black and white. They placed a plastic ring around her head, and a dark screen appeared with strange symbols, circles, and dots. The screen blinked, and she was inside a virtual reality of her life. There was a child sitting in a high chair, and it was Sarah. She had no idea how much time had passed. Her memories played out many scenes like a photo album. The next thing she saw was the symbols, circles, and dots again. This time, triangles were involved. The shapes became more clear, and they created beautiful landscapes. They were unlike anything on Earth. Where were these visions coming from? Was it her imagination, or was it the beings showing her scenes from their planet? She wanted them out of her mind, but she was trapped inside an unknown chamber. She felt like her memories and her life were melting with every symbol that had flashed. Sarah had never felt so helpless, and she was afraid of what would come next. Her mind was miles from her lifeless body, as she struggled to feel any kind of emotion that wasn't fear. She had no idea how long she had been in her diabolical state. There was no way to tell if this was a dream or some kind of supernatural experiment that this darkness or light was showing her. Sarah's eyes were opened wide by some kind of force, but she wanted to close them so badly. Her heart seemed to pause, but she could feel every beat of it. She still couldn't move, and then she heard these unreal echoes, maybe voices. Sarah wasn't sure because she had never heard those kinds of after effects in her life. The other sounds that she heard had to be footsteps. That's what her ears kept on telling her. Whatever was going on was getting closer to the numbness of her body and her faded mind of lost thoughts. She wanted to scream, but she was frozen like a dirt road in the distant countryside. Her struggles continued, and she felt like her body had betrayed her. Sarah wanted to go home and forget about this whole situation, but she couldn't. She didn't know if her time was running out, and she wasn't even sure if she was still alive. This could have been a purgatory for her final destination, or just a stop on the way to a complete mental breakdown. The visions of symbols and darkness stopped when the bright lights came on. She could hear the traffic in the room. A foreign entity appeared out of the corner of her eyes. It got closer, and when it had reached her, it stopped. And then it just gawked at her for what she thought was an eternity. Feeling was coming back to Sarah's body, and her mind was clearing from the fog that she had been in for so long. Her perception of living was scrambled by the sounds of a metal rod. The alien had touched her skin with the object, and her body began to burn from the cold instrument. This was such a strange feeling, one that Sarah had never felt, and one that she would never forget. This time she was able to yell as the pain eclipsed her threshold with such a greatness. She passed out from the agony, and she had no recollection about what had happened to her. When Sarah came to, the room was cold, and her body was shivering uncontrollably. The chamber that she was a prisoner of was now gone, and she was inside of what she had described as a holding cell. Sarah stood by the door of the small room and waited for some kind of interaction from someone, anyone. Her mind raced, and she had remembered the last thing that she was doing before she became a victim to this paranormal experience. Sarah was walking near a lake admiring the beautiful mountaintops. In a sudden panic, she saw a flash of light, and right then it felt like something had control over her. Sarah's memory had come to an end when smoke filled the room. She got dizzy, and she hit the floor with great force. When she had finally woken up, Sarah was in her log cabin, in her bed. She thought she had dreamt the whole experience. Sarah felt sick to her stomach and she needed medical attention. They checked her into the hospital and gave her so many tests. They found nothing wrong with her. The doctor came in and he explained everything. Sarah asked him, "Why do I feel so sick?" He told her, "Congratulations, you're 3 months pregnant." Her shock was felt by him as she fainted in fear. Till this day, Sarah didn't know what the cold metal rod was, but she was sure that's what landed her in her situation. Next month, Sarah will be having her first child, and she is sure that she will be getting another visit from the creators of gods.
Thank you for watching, and be sure to like and comment on my stories. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, so you never miss the latest release of a new dose of Sinister 24/7.